It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here, nodding his head over there with a lot of arrogance. Boy, we're going to fight tonight, Mark. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Joe is with us in the booth, of course, and you're watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and 790 The Score in Rhode Island. And, hey, you can, anywhere you podcast, you can catch us. And, of course, you can give us a call in Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS. Anything's on the table, 24/7. Leave us a message. Joe's going to pick one. Let it be yours. Or 855-313-7287. Or you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Hey, got a good one. We're going to feisty one tonight. In Weekly Rewind, we're going to go through that Pittsburgh recap. Mark and I are going to be eating a little bit of going to eat a little crap tonight, Mark, aren't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did I have them as a win way back when? I'm wondering.
That sheet's going out the door now. I think you did.
Joe had every game as a win. He had to win in like 11, 12 games.
Right.
Jesus.
So we're going to go through that game a little bit, break that down. We're going to talk some other NFL news and NFL happenings this week, so stick around for that. And, of course, Catone's comments. It's the holiday season, so Mark is probably in rare form. Let's wait around for that. And we're going to hear from one of you in Heated Hotline, and we're going to have a mailbag in our mailbag today, Joe, right? I think we had an email today.
Yeah, we got a good one.
All right, good. And we're going to welcome in the Pats Nation and break down that Kansas City game that was flexed out of Monday night and is now on Sunday afternoon. And, of course, try to make you some money in Sunday spread. So, gentlemen, it's the holiday season.
Happy holidays.
Whoop-dee-doo. How are we feeling, Mr. Catone?
Oh, all I got to say is go Army.
Yeah.
Joe was at that
Army.
game. Joe, you were at the Army-Navy game.
Oh, what a game. Army-Navy game, man. It was an experience. It was a great experience, man. I got to tell you, everybody, if you can afford the tickets these days, should definitely get a chance to see that in person. Really cool.
Yeah, that had to be cool. Yeah. It was cool to watch, too. You know, especially the pregame. We'll get to that in a little while. So, but before we get to all of that, we want to go back to the week that was. So, Joe, let's do it. Going back through the week, about a weekly rewind. So, Thursday night football. Now, last week, our show aired on Saturday. We were recording on Thursday, so we hadn't seen the game yet. So, we're going to get our recap now. We told the people to call right in, and some of them did. Things we can't probably put on the show about how wrong we were in our predictions of this Pittsburgh Steelers game. But they go into Pittsburgh on Thursday Night Football, and the Patriots win 21-18, Mark.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Oh, the game was like after. Listen, but Chris, they still tried to give the damn game away. It's
They
just
really did.
Trubisky. Trubisky has. I don't even know how he's on a roster. That's how
pretty
bad
bad.
he is. That's
He's
bad.
bad.
That he is actually still in the NFL is unbelievable to me.
I couldn't believe what I was looking at on their
Right?
I thought our offense was. Well, Mark, let's break it down. So talk about the offense, Mark.
So offensively, Chris.
Zappy.
Okay.
Zappy
We'll start
fever,
with
man.
that. We'll start with Zappy fever. I know everybody.
Well,
He gave him
start with
spark.
Zappy. He was
Rich. He
was-
gave him a spark. That's what everyone keeps saying. He's going to give him a spark.
Well, he was 19-28 for 240, 3 touchdowns, all in the first half.
And about
one
210
interception
of those yards was in the first half,
in
too.
the first half, and then he had 1 interception, which came, I think, in the second half, right? Yes, it did come in the second
Actually,
half.
I think he had like 194 yards in the first half, something like that.
Right.
But most of
because
his
he only
yards
had
was in the
like
first half.
40 or 50 yards in the second.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
And the Patriots only rushed for 81 yards, so it wasn't like at 25 carries. So it was pretty balanced. They threw the ball 28 times, ran the ball 25 times. But go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So the one thing I can say, Chris, everyone wants to talk about Zappy. And listen, nobody's a bigger critic of Billy O'Brien than me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to give Billy O'Brien kudos this week. And listen, I'm going to eat a little crow this week. Billy O'Brien, Chris, actually schemed well this week to help Zappe be successful. Okay. Because I still don't think Zappe's an NFL quarterback. He's nothing more than a backup, if that. But I'll give O'Brien kudos this week, Chris, because on the 2 touchdown passes, he schemed those plays perfectly. The first touchdown with Ezekiel Elliott, he lines Ezekiel Elliott up. And you were saying this during the game, Chris. Instead of Elliott lining up behind Zappe or to the right of Zappe behind the guard, he's almost out wide where the tackle is. And then Hunter Henry's tucked inside. Okay? So I believe, Chris, they were in a cover. I want to say cover. Was it cover 3 were they in?
It looked to me like, no, I think
Cover 2?
They had the linebacker. It was cover 2. Yeah, it was
cover 2, right? So where they had the linebacker and where they had the linebacker, Chris, in the center of the field, and where they had the corner was supposed to stop Henry from going to the outside.
Yeah, he had an outside. He was lined up in an outside technique on Hunter Henry. And the inside linebacker had the coverage into the flat. And
O'Brien, Chris's formation deliberately took advantage of the defense that Pittsburgh was playing. So on the snap, Henry cuts inside, basically picking the linebacker off. As Elliott swings out, the linebacker is way late trying to get through Henry because he's going underneath rather than or around, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right? But to Zappe's credit, Zappe knew, Chris, based on the formation, that's where the ball's going. So as soon as it was a snap, he looks, throws right to Elliott for the touchdown. Now, the difference between Zappe and Jones, Chris, is I think Zappe just got Jones got in a situation, Chris, where he was just overthinking everything. So rather than just hike, react, boom, throw the ball where it's supposed to go, Jones got everything he did got slow and hesitant because I think it was just all in his head. So when it comes to that, Chris, Zappe was much quicker as to what he should be doing. Same thing on Hunter Henry's second touchdown was very similar, but this time, Chris,
the linebacker
went over, and Henry juts into the center of the field because the safety moves. And
the corner or whoever's was covering Henry still had an outside technique, and because so now basically you have 2 defenders outside of him.
Yeah,
and that
was also
that lane, that skinny post.
But that was also a scheme. He schemed that.
Yeah,
right?
They helped them. They help Zappe, and it doesn't seem like they do. It's like their expectation of Mac Jones is much more than what Zappe.
I think they expected Mac Jones to read what was happening more, where for Zappe, it was like almost like paint by numbers. It was like paint by numbers, like when you were a kid. 1, 2, 3, follow the dots and paint the dot, right? But basically that's what they gave him, Chris. That's how, based on the formations they gave him. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Chris, Pittsburgh's defense, first of all, they're rushing 4 guys, no pressure. Then as soon as Pittsburgh started to apply pressure and switch their defense up a little bit, midway through the second quarter, everything stopped. And there was no more, nothing. Nothing happened after that. Offensively, it became the same offense they've been.
Yeah, Mark. And you know what? I want to give Zappe credit, and I will, and that's fine.
Yeah, and I'm giving him credit, Chris, for following what he was supposed to do and doing it quickly and crisp and not, like I said, not slowing up like Jones was doing.
And Billy O'Brien was good in this game too. He was. I'd say Buffalo was
absolutely.
Buffalo was the other game that he coached really well, and the play calling was good. But a couple of those situations were on Pittsburgh. I mean, that throw to Hunter Henry on that other touchdown to him, not the one you're talking about, the other one.
The other one, yeah.
You know, did you see the angle the safety took? The safety came flat, and that
ball
was able to get over there.
Everybody said Zappe threw a laser on that. Oh, what a laser.
He wasn't supposed to be throwing a laser on that.
Chris.
He wasn't supposed to be throwing a laser. You know what I mean? That ball needed to have a little more air under it. And then, but the safety made such a bad angle and went flat that, it just snuck right
and
over the
the
top.
throw the Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris, was what was that? What was that? He threw a deep ball to him, but that wasn't a good throw either.
They're still first reads. I saw him read second read a couple of times, but mostly they were first reads. He played well in the first half, but you saw in the second half when Pittsburgh made some adjustments, there was some confusion now, and he threw that bad pick, and he probably could have threw another one.
That should have been the second one. Should have been caught. Was right in the guy's hands.
So once again, I think he established himself as a backup in this league.
Yeah,
a guy worth having as a backup. So
but he's not a starter, Chris. He's not taking an offense and he's not leading a team to anything.
No, absolutely not. Nope. No. And defensively, Mark.
Yep.
And so defensively with them, look, they've been playing good. I mean, they've been playing great this whole, these last stretch of games. Now let me, temper that by saying Pittsburgh's offense. If New England's offense is bad, Pittsburgh is Mitch Trubisky is horrible. He's just terrible, and the Patriots gave them every chance. And for as good as they played, he got sacked twice. So the Patriots had two sacks on him. He was 22 of 35, 190, one touchdown, one interception. So, pedestrian day, a fine, whatever. I mean, but he's just so bad at reading a defense. And the Patriots exploited that all night long. And I'll just give one example on the, people ask me, well, what about that Peppers pick? Wow. And it was schematically, it was fantastic. What the Patriots were doing to Pittsburgh offense with schemes and disguise. And basically on that, it looked like a cover. It looked like a cover 3, like they were being cover 3. Okay. And it was disguise. And then switched over to Tampa two safeties high, like Mark was describing. And they overloaded the blitz to one side. So what it looked like, it was just a 3-man blitz. That's what it looks like. Okay. With Uche on one end. But what they did was on the opposite end, I think it was Miles Bryant they brought off the edge. And so it was an overload blitz to one side with 4 guys coming now, or maybe even 5. Okay. I think it was 4. So it was a blitz with 4 guys. And Uche dropped into coverage into a curl, which made 2 safeties up top and 4 underneath in coverage. And he rerouted the wide receiver to the sideline. And consequently, Peppers got the pick. It was beautiful. It was a great design. And they did that crap to the Steelers all night long. But they also gave them the chance. I mean, the Patriots, they still allowed 18 points to that crap offense. So you look at it and you say, well, okay, they played a great night, but they still allowed it. They still allowed the 18 points.
And Chris, on the interception.
Yeah.
Okay. The corner that picks the ball off, Chris, hesitates once the interception. You're like, what's he running in quicksand? How Ezekiel Elliott?
Peppers?
Yeah. How? No. The Pittsburgh interception.
For Pittsburgh.
How Ezekiel Elliott runs him down? I don't know. That should have been a pick 6 for Pittsburgh. Instead, they end up going for it on 4th down and getting no points out of that pick.
Yeah, that changed everything.
He runs that back for a pick 6, Chris. Pittsburgh probably wins the game.
It's over, at that point. So, it was a good showing by the Patriots. I thought the coaching staff did really well in this game. I think the special teams still stink. They still stink.
And Chris, you know what? Shame on you and I, because leading up to the game, in one of the press conferences, as I thought about it after, they asked Belichick about Pittsburgh, and he's like, yeah, well, we've played with them for years. They do the same thing, every year. They got the same offense and the defensive scheme and blah, blah. And we know what to expect. They're a tough team. We know what they're going to do. Basically telling you they're predictable. We've been doing this for years with them. So schematically, they knew how to play Pittsburgh, and the coaching staff did a good job putting that stuff in place, Chris.
But Pittsburgh's got serious issues.
Oh my God, they're all
serious issues in play calling.
Awful.
I mean, he threw the ball to Pickens, 6 times. He had 5 catches for 19 yards. That's the problem.
How do you
Nothing
not feature?
downfield.
How do you
Horrible.
not feature him is beyond me. And then Chris, even their play calling, like one of the 3rd and 2, you're like, why aren't you running the ball off? It was just awful. And then that
It was.
4th down call at the end, they threw that deep ball up the sidelines. That's the best you could come up with.
You know what? They made it easy for the Patriots defense at times. They really did. I mean, I'm not taking it away. They just made it real easy. So Patriots come up with that win. And Mark, the only other thing I want to talk about in Rewind is this Mahomes. You know, do you see that Kansas City game?
I did.
Okay. So to set it up, I'm sure everybody's seen it now, but Kansas City's playing, and who are they playing again? Why am I blanking on this? What's wrong with
They're
me?
playing Buffalo.
Buffalo. Okay. So big game, all that, right? And it's getting to the end of the game. Mahomes, they run this play where they got to come back. They got to win. They need a touchdown to win the game. So they run a play, beautifully designed play. They throw the ball to Kelsey in the middle of the field. He laterals to
But
Tony,
I don't know
who
if
runs
that
in for a
lateral
touchdown.
was planned, Chris. Was it?
I don't know.
Or
It
was
sort
that,
of looked,
did Kelsey
like
do
it.
that instinctually?
Maybe it was instinctually, but the point is it was a touchdown. Now it's called back because Tony is lined up offsides. Now, you don't normally see an offsides on offense called a lot. Like you see false starts, but you don't see lined up in the neutral zone. But it's an emphasis this year that was placed, and the NFL let the teams know we're going to be placing that. We're going to call this now. And they called it like 11 or 12 times leading into that game, which was a lot. Okay. But he was clearly offside, Mike. You couldn't see the ball. He was about a yard offside. They make the call. Mahomes melts down, basically wants to go after the official. He's being held back on the sideline. And then in the press conference, he doubles down. And Andy Reid does the same. What did you think of that, Mark?
Well, listen, I immediately thought of, because, Chris, there's always the comparison with Brady. Right. So I immediately thought of Brady and how he would have reacted. And listen, Brady was no saint. They had to pull him off the field that night, that Monday night game against Carolina. Remember when Gronk got tackled in the end zone? It was a 4th down. And if it's a touchdown, we wouldn't, or if it's pass interference, balls placed at the 1 yard line, we win that game.
Right.
And Brady had to basically get grabbed off the field. I think it was Ryan Mallett who grabbed him and pulled him away.
Yeah, he was chasing him like up the tunnel.
He was chasing the guy up the tunnel, the ref, right?
Right.
So it happens. But Brady then, when he went to the press conference, just said, I thought it was, it was a bad call, but he didn't do, and Belichick didn't do what Reid did.
No.
And the other thing I thought of, Chris, was when the Patriots played Kansas City, when they had the guy you love, N'Keal Harry, and Harry.
I don't even have the energy,
listen,
Joe,
and Harry
to fight him.
Harry gets his foot in bounds. We had no challenges left. They said he was out of bounds. And in the press conference after the game, Brady said, "Yeah, it happened. There's no, it happened." He said, "It happened." He said, "The refs usually get everything right, but it happens." And then he said, "We still should have made a play at the end to win the game." So he didn't blame it. Like, you know what I mean? Mahomes,
and neither did Belichick.
No, and neither did Belichick.
But Reid did.
Of course he did.
Mark, this is
just a difference, Chris.
The only thing I'm going to say about this is, because I was pissed off about all this. And the one thing that I haven't really heard, Mahomes is getting stuff for, flack for, and he should. Because every person out there that's anointing Mahomes Brady is basically saying this guy's the next Brady. Yeah, this just shows you exactly why he's not Brady. One, because of what Mark just told you. And two, because of this. Tom Brady, understood everything that was going on that field. He understood everything that was going on in the league. If a memo went out that said, we're cutting down on this, we're cracking down on this, you could be sure as hell that Brady knows it, he's practicing it, he's talking about it, and he's making sure that the guys in that huddle understand it. Okay? You could be sure as hell that he's studying like that. I don't think there's no way Mahomes is, because here's the thing. Instead of getting pissed off at the officials, you ought to be pissed off at Tony. You ought to be pissed off at the other guys on your team for not being disciplined enough. And you ought to be pissed at yourself. You should be looking in the friggin' mirror saying, it's my job to make sure these guys are on side and set before that ball comes back to me. You look down that line of scrimmage, you look at where your guys are lined up, especially in a moment like that where you need the game. That's on you, man. That's on you. Tom Brady takes that punch for his team. He takes that punch for his receiver outwardly. Inside, there's no way he allows something like that to happen. So I don't know what's going on in their locker room. Maybe he's doing that. But put the blame on yourself for not look. If somebody's offsides on the offense, that's on you, quarterback. Fix it before the snap happens.
Yeah,
that's it.
No, I agree. I agree, Chris. I agree.
So
totally, 100% agree.
And
I never agree with you.
Those are the happenings of the week. So Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, it's the holiday season. Buckle up. Catone's comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's comments!
So it's that time of the year again. It's the holiday season. This is my favorite time of the year. Yeah, okay. So listen, I get pulled in every single year. I say I'm not going to stores. I'm not dealing with any of that nonsense. I'm going to sit home, watch sports, and just order everything I need on Amazon, and that's it. But of course, I get pulled back in like the Godfather. I get pulled back in, and I got to go to a store. My wife just pulls me in, and I got to go out to these places. Listen, I'm not even going to get into
Mark, Joe, he likes it so much that we can't even hear him anymore. That's how animated he is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's nothing but explicit
language.
For those of you, wait, Mark. For those of you on the radio at 790, he's flailing his arms. He's flailing his arms all around because he's how irritated he is. Go ahead, Mark.
Nothing but a slew of swears. Sorry.
That's it. So I don't know where I got shut off. However, the parking lot, you can't even get a parking space. You know how I feel about parking. They ought to come to my driving school because I'm going to start one. I haven't started it yet. That's the first of the year. I think I'm going to start it. You get in these stores. They're banging you with carriages. Where are you? Where the hell are you going? You're in a store. You going to ram me with a carriage? Really? I'm going to call Corso Law Group. I got whiplash. My neck, my back. Can you claim whiplash from a carriage in a store? Because that's what I need to do. So now,
I believe you
listen,
can. Yeah.
Oh, well, don't give me any ideas. So now, first of all, they're rude. Not excuse me. I'm sorry. They look at you because you're not pushing the carriage fast enough. Lady, I'm on 11 pills a day. You think I'm going to move up and down with a carriage? Listen, I don't want to be here to begin with. You're ramming me with carriages. Then, listen, I never seen more people go out, take up pajamas on. When did this start? They go to the store with pajamas on. I'm looking around. I said, what is this? What is this? Like nighty-night over here. I don't understand what they're doing. They're in a store with pajamas. This is something new to me. Then, God forbid, you're going to ask somebody, a worker, where something is, or ask any type of a question. They look at you like you're speaking Mandarin or some other language. They just look at you with a blank stare. And I say, oh, excuse me, let me repeat myself. And they look at you. And then they look at if they take a phone out. They got some special phone they use in these stores. And they don't even know. What are you looking at the phone for? I asked you a question. What is that going to tell you? They give you an answer that's completely wrong. Completely wrong. I'm saying to myself, I'm better off asking the carriage the question because I can't get an answer in here. Then listen, who's not wearing deodorant? There's a stench. There's this. Who's passing gas? It's just it's a complete utter disaster in these places. A disaster. Okay, I don't even know how else to describe what is happening in these places when you go to these stores during the holiday season. And then never mind when you go to check out, you know my pet peeve with these machines. You put the card in. No. Today you're going to tap it. Nope. You're going to tap it this way, not this way, this way. What the hell? Just let me pay. Let me go to an old-fashioned cash register where they're going to hit the button, hit the buttons, hit them so the drawer opens up. That's all I want. That's all I want. Listen, do yourself a favor. Do not go to stores. Go on Amazon. Do what you got to do on Amazon. Avoid stores during the holiday season. Then I got to go back out and get in my car and try to get out of this crazy parking lot where it's almost like you're at a the bumper cars. There's cars everywhere. They're not following the rules of the road. They're coming from all directions. I'm looking around. I'm saying to myself, but where did these people get their licenses from? This is crazy. I'm taking my life in my hands to drive out of the parking lot. Right out loud. It's craziness. It's madness. Please stay away from the stores, Chris. Stay away.
They're certainly not getting their licenses from the Tone driving school. That's for sure.
For those of you,
you don't even know where to start, do you?
For those of you who don't know, a carriage is a shopping cart.
Okay, I'm showing it's a Rhode Island thing, a shopping cart. Okay, it's a cart. I'm sorry.
A shopping cart. So Mark, when you go to the stores, okay, typically on the end of every aisle, there's like signs that say what's down the aisle. Like
it mentions
cabbage,
4 things. Yeah, Chris, it mentions 4 things and there's 50 things.
Chips, soda,
I'm not
drinks.
talking about that type of a store. That's a grocery store. I'm talking a store that sells merchandise.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah,
that's different things.
When you go in, okay, so if it's one of those places, then when you go, by the way, is Amazon a sponsor? Because they should be. How can you?
It should be a sponsor.
We have sponsorship opportunities. Isn't this the guy you want pumping your brand right now? Listen to this right now. He just did it. Yeah, when you go in these places, don't you love when you walk in, but the place you got to go to is all the way down on the other end? I walked in the grocery part, but the other stuff is like way down the other end, and God forbid you make a mistake and have to circle back. That's it. That's where you get your steps in, Mark.
But Chris, you can't ask anybody a question because nobody can answer you.
No, they try to avoid you. Well, you.
They do. They absolutely do. Because then after a while, I start talking to myself in the middle of the store. So then I'm like, are you kidding me? What am I doing in here? Like, I'm talking to myself. Now everybody's looking at me like, where did this guy come from? Like, they're gonna call security on me. I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah. As soon as he walks down the aisle, all you hear is, I've cleaned up in aisle 12. This is Mark throwing things around in the store. Maybe the smell, though, Mark. Maybe that's blowing back into your face. Could it be that, or is it just
no?
Because I know you just go out. And what is it with the pajamas? What do we? I have seen that actually,
Chris,
but that's like style clothes now. They
is
look
that
like
what it is?
To you and me, it looks like pajamas. I don't even think people call it pajamas anymore, Joe.
Listen, I'm old. I'm getting old.
Joe, you're as close to up to date as we get here on this show, and you're not even. So
no.
Mark, when you went to another thing I know you love, when you went to the he calls it the register, the checkout. You went to the checkout. Did you do the self one? Because that's something I would pay to see. Or
No,
did you go to the person?
No, I went to a person. I can't do the self one, and I go crazy over there too. I can't.
So
because inevitably, every self checkout you go to, the light comes on because something goes wrong. So
always.
Why are you going to? Why go to self checkout?
did it ask you for a donation?
You're gonna bring that up? Of course, it asked me for a donation. Of course, it did. I didn't even want to bring that up.
For you Corso Catone fans, you know this, but we just knew the 790. He did a whole Catone's comments on them begging for donations at the checkout, which I know sounds like a mean person, but gets annoying at times. Like, what are you going to say to them? No? Do you want to donate to the Little Sisters of the Poor or whatever the hell it is? You're like, no. Especially when they tell you, well, we're going to write your name down.
Yeah.
On some kind of star, right? And put it out so they didn't ask you for the donation this time?
Yeah, they did. They asked, but it's on the machine. Do you want to donate $1 or $2 to this? I told you. I donate a lot of the different charities, this and that. But now they're gonna embarrass me. Somebody's over my shoulder. They're gonna embarrass me. You don't want to give $1, you cheap person. So you okay? I'll give the $1, the $2. What are you gonna do?
I'll tell you what my Christmas gift to you is early. I got you a shirt that says, I hate everybody. And on the back, it said, get out of my way.
Oh, I see. I'd wear that too. I'd wear it.
It should have an arrow. Go turn.
Listen, you know what shirt? Yeah. You know what shirt I want for Christmas?
Yeah.
Tommy Cutlets. I want Tommy Cutlets, the quarterback of the Giants.
DeVito, Tommy DeVito and his agent with the fedora and I love it. Gotta love that, He lives with his parents. I mean, she makes the chicken cutlets, the mom. No, Mark, you need a shirt that says "Who's responsible." That's it. Yeah, a shirt that says "Who's responsible." Mark, he's 1,000% right. And in this holiday season, you're a mean one.
Listen,
Mr. Grinch.
You talk about me. You don't go. This kid's on online shopping at 3 a.m. He orders things. He don't leave the house. Him. He's talking about me, Joe.
I can't. I don't deal with people. I can't stand any of you out there. I don't forget it.
And
I don't like anybody.
And your line of business deals with people.
I don't like anybody. Anybody, especially lawyers. Hate them too. Very good, Mark. Grinch's comments was presented by Corso and Catone, the Real Deal New Field. Hey, listen, sponsorship opportunities are available. Businesses out there, let Mark do a read for you. If he can't sell it, nobody can sell it. Email us at corso.catone@gmail.com. Hey, when we come back, going to hear from one of you in the nation and Heated Hotline and more coming up.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
That's
it.
What is wrong with you?
Get him on this damn show.
You lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the Real Deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Corso and Catone. It is real. It's real. The Real Deal New England. Listen, when you people think I'm kidding when I tell you we are you. We are the fans.
Yeah.
Listen to this guy. I mean, pearls.
Hey.
Right, Joe?
Pearls of wisdom.
So let's see what kind of wisdom and pearls we're getting from you out there in the nation. Heated Hotline, Joe.
This is from the mailbag this week. We get from Paul from East Greenwich. Hi, guys. It's Paul from East Greenwich. So I'm sure you guys caught the Belichick interview on ESPN before the Army-Navy game when they tell Bill he's the greatest coach and GM of all time, capital letters, and GM of all time. In the next interview, they're telling Kraft they don't envy what he has to do. Then this week, you got Tom Curran reporting that the decision to part ways with Belichick at the end of the season was made after the Germany game. So what's the real deal spiel in this situation? Paul from East Greenwich has got it.
Joe, did you add the word spiel to that, or was that actually?
Oh, he wrote that in. I was like, I had to look it up. What is this word?
I thought maybe you added that for effect. Paul, thank you for the email. Mark, there's a lot in there. to unwrap.
There is a lot to
So
unwrap.
let's start with the Army-Navy game. Kraft does the interview first, says that Pat McAfee is,
Pat McAfee.
him, he's got a big mouth. He's,
Used to be was he the punter or field goal kicker for the Indianapolis, right? One of those two, right?
who cares? He was a kicker. So
Yeah.
he tells Kraft, I don't envy you your task or whatever that is, which basically implies
He's going to get rid of Belichick.
I know you got to get rid of him, and I don't envy you having to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think of Kraft's reaction to that?
Well, Kraft, but then he says something else, McAfee, to lead Kraft into another question. Kraft acts like that wasn't even brought up. Just totally avoids it, Chris.
Did mention, though, Kraft did say, why you have so much success? Well, in all our businesses, it's about people. And he says, we've had a coach here for 24 years. Now, I've heard a lot of stretches this week about, well, that means that he's setting up to be able to say, well, look, we kept the guy for 24 years and that's good enough. We can get rid of him. It's, you know what I mean? But you're talking to someone who thinks he's coming back. But okay, so there was that. Then Belichick comes on, puts the helmet on. I thought he was very engaging. I liked it. I did. I liked it. I liked him on there. That's what he should do for a living now, instead of coaching. But he comes out. McAfee now tells him how great he is, the best coach, best GM, which I don't even understand that part.
Do you think McAfee was busting his beans because McAfee has to know he's a terrible GM?
No, he's starstruck. McAfee's kissing butt, and he's sitting there doing the thing that he does. And listen, Mark, we think what we think about Belichick, and I get to my question on this for Paul. But nationally, this is still a revered individual in this sport. He is. I mean, when he walks in a room, somebody's there. Somebody showed up. He comes on College game day. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And it is a big deal. And it's always going to be a big deal because no matter how you slice it, he's still the best. Is he gone or is he? Because that's what Paul's wanting to get at. Is he coming back? Is Kraft firing? Has the decision been made? And is Curran right?
Chris, I don't know. I'm gonna be. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna come back, Chris. And I just think that Kraft, Chris. If you go back to Germany and the importance that he put on that game, Kraft, I don't think Kraft would have minded if they lost, but they put up it was a great game. They lose in the last second. The way they played, the way Jones throws that pick at the end, but just the way they played the entire game, it was kind of embarrassing. Like it was almost like, look at the has-beens. I don't know. It was just Germany wasn't a good look for them.
Yeah.
And I do think that Kraft left there with a bitter taste in his mouth. And I'm going to say something, Chris. Kraft was a Mac Jones guy, and I don't think he liked the way that this whole Jones thing had been handled, Chris, either. For instance, Thursday night, Chris, did you see Belichick with Zappe and Ezekiel Elliott? And he's talking to Zappe on the sidelines, explaining something to him. He stayed completely away from Mac Jones this entire season. Mac Jones, they never showed him with Mac Jones. Mac Jones was always with Billy O'Brien.
I don't know if that's true. I mean,
that's true. I don't know. This kid's a closet. Joe, he's a closet Belichick guy. Loves him. Loves him.
Like there was a camera on him at all times. I mean,
no, but Chris, there was so much dissension between those two. No, but there was so much dissension between those two, Chris. They would have showed it. If Belichick was with him, they would have showed it. But anyway, I think he's gone, Chris. I think Kraft has made the decision. I do. I think the son, believe it or not, Chris, is pushing him on this one. And I still think Kraft has a bitter taste in his mouth because he trusted Bill explicitly when he said it's time to move on from Brady. I can win without him. And it hasn't happened.
I'm disgusted when I hear things like that.
What's the truth?
I'm disgusted when I hear that he's got a bitter taste in his mouth. He trusted Belichick. You know what? Trust your brain. Trust your heart. This is my son. He's like a son to me. Brady's like a son to me. Well, if he's like a son to you, what are you gonna trade your son? You gonna let him go?
Well,
No,
yeah, Chris, because
use
you
your
just
brain,
said about
man.
how he talked about he runs a business. He's
Hey,
a
look, I
successful
saw-
businessman.
I saw the promos.
And he took Kraft,
I saw the promos for this program they got coming out. These guys talking about the run, the dynasty, whatever they're calling it. And there's one little clip about Kraft saying at the end, it's what you and I had said. He was, it was everything I could do basically to hold it all together. So that tells me that he knew what was walking out the door. You should have done better. That crap pisses me off. Take some friggin' ownership of what happened. And even now, look, I understand Belichick's
listen,
all the things.
let's wait a minute, Chris. But what he's doing now, what he's going to do, is now he is taking ownership.
Well,
He
I get
finally
that.
is taking ownership,
Fine.
and he's going to get rid of a coach that the game has passed by.
Right. Well, be careful, everybody. Be very, very careful.
You
what you
keep
wish
saying
for.
that, Chris. Be careful what
telling
you
you
wish
now.
for. He's not okay. I will bet you anything
Because
you
I heard
want
I
on
heard the
this
Brady
show.
people say. I heard some of these people saying this when Brady left too about, hey, he's done. He's probably done. 19 was a hard year. It was a terrible year. The look he gave was terrible. Brady in 19. Let him go. Be careful
wasn't
what
me.
you wish for.
Listen, that wasn't me. So I don't know what people you're
No, I'm not
describing.
talking
That
about you.
wasn't me.
I say-
No,
I
but
would've said you.
what I'm saying to you is, he's never winning a Super Bowl anywhere else, Chris. I'm not talking about going to a playoff game. He's not winning a Super Bowl anywhere else. End of story. Finished. Finito. That's it.
Kraft is not going to eat $25 million.
Okay, then he'll be back for one more year. And then what are you going to do next year? The next year it'll end because his
I'm just
contract's
saying.
up?
Maybe ESPN will pick it up because Belichick
I don't-
fantastic
here's-
as an interviewee, right? He looked fantastic out
He
there.
did. That's what he should be doing.
That's
But here's the thing. Listen, Mark, Thursday night may have accomplished a lot for Belichick because it creates a scapegoat for all this. It takes look, at the end of the year, you could sit down with Kraft, and if they show against Kansas City at all, I'm not saying win, but if they show against Kansas City, like they defensively, they do every damn time they play them, and they move the ball even a little bit, okay? He could walk into that office and say, look, our quarterback was an issue. Mr. Kraft, we want to take the quarterback first? Fine. We'll take a new quarterback. Like, I'm just saying, if they show okay for the rest of I think he's back. I think he's back. I think Kraft doesn't want to do it. I don't think he wants to really do it.
But Chris, if they finish 3-14, you beat a bad Pittsburgh team. So what did
I
Thursday
know.
night do for you? If you finished 3-14, what did that game do for you?
I understand that. I'm just telling you, in my opinion, I don't think he wants to fire. I don't think he wants to get rid of him.
Okay. All right.
So I think he'll grasp at anything to keep him there, at least to the end of the contract or whatever. So I just don't want Belichick making that pick.
Well, he's going to if he's there. He's going to
That's
make
it.
the pick.
So, Paul, Mark and I are at odds. I'm at odds with everybody. Everybody thinks he's gone. Everybody thinks he's gone. Nationally, everybody thinks people are crazy for
Listen,
New England for
I
wanting
don't
him gone.
Listen, I'm not at odds with whether he's gone or not gone. I'm at odds from when and I'm on record with this. You can go watch any show you want. I'm at odds with him for letting the greatest player in the history of this game walk out the door because Belichick's ego said, I can win with a half of a quarterback because I'm such a great coach. I don't need Tom Brady. Guess what, sir? You did need Tom Brady the last 10 years because this game changed. You didn't change, and Brady was the glue that kept it all together for you. And that's been proven now. Now it's been proven. So I don't care if Belichick goes somewhere else and takes a team to the playoffs. Win a ring. Put a ring on that finger without Brady, and then I'll give you some credit for the last 10 years. Otherwise, shut your pie hole.
Okay.
I'm pissed. I'm pissed with Belichick, Chris. I'm pissed.
I am. And I'm equally pissed with Kraft. You got two employees. Their egos got away from them. You pull it together. Take some ownership of it now, too. Pull it together now. Fix what you couldn't fix and didn't fix in 2018. Joe, what pissed off?
I tell you one thing, though.
How's he fixing that now? It's over.
Corso's interview, was it any relative there, Christopher? But Corso's interview to Belichick basically sounded like a resume. You know what I mean? Of his GM worthiness, of how, the understudy of him and his father and the coaches like Corso, that his skills of being a GM and scout in, so many words, that all comes from that lineage, which just sounded like a resume that he's just telling the whole league that, just by the way, this is who I am.
Maybe.
So Chris, let me ask you a question. I'm glad Joe brought that up.
Joe, are we in trouble here? We're over, huh?
That's all right. Listen, Chris.
Sunday spread's going to be really quick.
Sunday spread's easy. Take the Chiefs. Take the Chiefs. Listen, Chris.
What?
There was a relative of yours on College Game Day. Explain to us about Lee Corso.
Yeah, he is. I've never met him, but when my great-grandfather came over from Italy, he and his brother, they split. One went up to New England. The other clan went over to Indiana, and that's where he's from. That group, and he's my grandfather. Had met him and gone to family reunions down there, and they would have one every year. And my understanding, he's as spectacular of a human being as he appears to be. Is Lee Corso, and I someday I would like to meet him. Someday soon, hopefully. So,
yeah.
Good stuff, Paul. Thank you for the email. We appreciate that, guy. Keep them coming. Heated Hotline was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. Here we come back. We got to go quickly, but Pat's Nation is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. corsolawgroup.com.
Okay, Mark, so they kick off Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, flexed out of the Monday Night Football game. I wonder if the league is now regretting that after the Thursday night Pittsburgh game. Not having Mahomes now on Monday night again.
Yeah, they could be.
Say, well, maybe the Patriots would have been okay. I mean, because it's Seattle. Who's the game now? It's like Seattle and Philly or
Philadelphia. But you really are putting a lot of stock in that win over Pittsburgh, aren't you?
I'm not putting a lot of stock in it. I'm telling you that I think the owner is grasping at straws, and he may be putting.
What I'm saying now, you're saying they're regretting it because we won Thursday night. Well, we still.
I just think I mean regretting it from a Mahomes Kansas City standpoint. I mean, you want them on. You want them on as much as you can get them on, right?
Yeah,
Seattle and Philly. I mean, that really moved the needle for you?
No, you're right.
So anyway, so they kick off 1 p.m. Eastern. Mr. Catone is going to be at the game, right, Mark?
Yes, I will be. Chris graciously gave me and my son the tickets. We go every year. And this was the game my son picked because of college and stuff. He figured he'd be home by now. And, of course, I don't think he ever thought New England would have 3 wins. Right. So
you just want to go. You just want to go so you could tell Kelsey he's a jerk to his face. That's just what you want to do. Right? Mark doesn't do it. That is not Mark's favorite guy in the world.
Well, listen, the last time I went to a Chiefs game was with Chris. They had raised a banner, and I had to grab him. He wanted to go on the field and punch Kelsey in the face. I had to grab him to get out of there.
You didn't do anything. It was all Hunt that had the big day.
Remember, he was taunting the fans. I had to get you out of there.
He's a jerk. All right. So offensively, Mark. Okay. Talk about the keys here. I mean, if they got a chance in this game, what do they got to do? What do you see happening?
Offensively, Chris,
stay home.
I'm going to be honest with you. Kansas City has a good defense. They got a good pass rush. So you're going to have to. That's a problem. If you can get a pass rush on Zappy, Chris, that's a problem because he panics. Right? He don't panic, but he just runs out of the pocket immediately.
He's a little more poised. He's more poised than.
Well. He is in a sense, but Jones at least, Chris, would try to go through progressions. Zappy looks and runs out. So I don't know. It's whatever. But I think, Chris, you're really going to have to utilize a lot of scheme just like O'Brien did against Pittsburgh. He's going to have to figure out ways to get Zappy some easy throws, you know what I mean, to move the ball, use Ezekiel Elliott's play action, screen passes, different types of things. And I do think, Chris, you can run the ball on Kansas City. So I would try to run the ball more than I did against Pittsburgh because Kansas City has a pass rush, Chris, and they got a pretty good secondary. I don't think you're going to be able to throw the ball on them like you did against Pittsburgh. I think you're going to need to establish the run more to set up the pass against this team. You're going to have to. And that's in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's Spagnuolo. You're going to get heat.
Yeah, Spagnuolo's going to bring heat. Absolutely.
You're definitely going to get heat. And so, look, and the one thing I want to say earlier about
Chris,
Zappy,
I have a funny feeling you're going to see more 12 personnel this week than you saw last week. Where has Gesicki been, Chris? Has he been on the field?
Yeah, he's been on the field. He's on the field.
Okay, so you're going to see more of that this week.
How can you see more? That's all they do. That's all they're ever in is friggin' 12 personnel.
No, but I think they went away from that a little bit last week, Chris. I do.
Okay. Well, the one thing I was going to say was about the confidence. See, the confidence level in Zappy, everybody's talking about that. Well, look how confident he is. He gets out of the pocket. Yeah. Look, Mac Jones was so broken. Anything is going to look like it's a major, major, major improvement, Yeah. So, again, let's see what happens offensively. And defensively, Mark, look, the reason why, and I said this in the offseason, I said it this summer when the schedule, we did the picks. This is a team that plays Kansas City tough, always. They always play them tough. Kansas City is what it is. They are what they are. They do what they do. There's a lot of motion, a lot of shifting, movement around. They do that with Pacheco now. And so, but that's nothing new. There's not a ton of wrinkles. I will give Belichick, young Belichick credit, and they can still understand what it is they need to do to stop a defense. They've been doing it for weeks now. They know what they need to do with Kelsey, and they know how to do it. So the key is you have to take 87 out of the game. You have to take Kelsey out of the game, which can be done, and it has been done this year. And you see exactly what happens in Kansas City when it is done. You take Kelsey out of this game, and you force these receivers, who, by the way, are mediocre. Yes, I said it. The Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers are mediocre at this point.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So the only time you're going to see Mahomes attempt a throwback across his body, the only person he trusts to do that with is Kelsey. So you have got to put it over-under on him. It isn't Hardman anymore. There's no Hill. He's not doing that with anybody else anymore.
And Kelsey, Chris, if you've noticed, listen, I know he has some good stats, but I think he's regressed a little, Chris. I don't think he has he looks a little bit, and maybe he's banged up and injured. He looks slower than he has the past couple of years. I think Andy Reid has to do more scheming to get him open in space than he used to, because I think Kelsey is starting to lose a step, Chris.
There's a lot of rubs for him. There's a lot of step offs, especially on the goal line.
They never had to do that before as much, Chris. Now it's a lot more.
Yeah, not as much. Yeah. And Pacheco is going to be a key in this game too. Controlling him, starting him, slowing him down.
I think he's out, Chris. He was out yesterday. He didn't practice.
Well, then if he's out of the game, then, again, we're recording on Thursday. So if he's out, that's a huge – so I think they're going to get pressure on Mahomes. I do. I like the way our front's playing. So the key is, again, win on first down. You can win on first down against Kansas City. You can actually force Mahomes to have to go down the field with the ball. Kansas City's tough. They're not, they haven't shown up on the road this year in their ability to be able to, I'm sorry. Yeah, they haven't been able to show up to be able to do these things. And now they're going on the road again. I just want to see them go on the road in the playoffs.
Yeah, I do
just want to see it once. That's all I want to see.
Too.
So to me, that's the key. Mark, it's a Thursday, but the line 7.5. That line started at 9, and then Kansas City lost. So now it's down to 7.5. Patriots are getting. What do you think?
31, 31, 13 Chiefs.
They're not putting 31 up on New England.
Okay. I think they're going to because I think they're going to get 2 turnovers. 2.
Well, okay, that's
That's
different.
going to set them. I think Kansas City's defense, they create turnovers. Spagnuolo will create turnovers. 2 turnovers, set them up on a short field. That's how they get 31.
I got it 24-20 Kansas City.
Okay.
And I even thought about making it 21-17. 21-17. 21-17.
Kansas City? Kansas City or New England? All right.
Kansas City. I'm not so doofus that I'm going to go pick the Patriots in this game. I mean, this ain't the Steelers. Yeah, we didn't pick them then. So
I agree.
And speaking of picks, Mark, let's get right to Sunday spread. So last week, I mean, we've been dipping a little bit.
I was awful again last week. 2 weeks in a row, Chris. I've had bad weeks. 2 weeks in a row.
You're picking a lot of big spreads, though. This is what's happening. Picking a lot of wide spread. So give us a lot.
Last week though, Chris, I liked Philadelphia and they just didn't show up. I didn't think Dallas would win, but at home they play well. So this week, Chris, I honestly think they're fighting for their lives right now. I'm gonna take Buffalo -2 at home. I think they beat Dallas. They'll beat Dallas by a field goal at Buffalo. I'm gonna take Buffalo at home. I think they're fighting for, like I said, they're fighting for their lives. Okay.
I got to tell you though, Mark, Dallas. I really thought Dallas would get their ass kicked, and they showed up.
No, I agree, but they're at home. They're at home, and now they're going to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And the other game I like, Chris, I'm going to chase them, and I think they're going to win big. They're going to come back and win big. Philadelphia -3 at Seattle. They're going to destroy Seattle. Philly's going to come back in a big way Monday night. So I would put those 2 teams together, Chris. I really would. And I'm going to tell you, if you want a third team, Chris, I don't know how Atlanta's. I know they're on the road, but they're only giving 3 points to Carolina. Carolina's abysmal.
Yeah.
Abysmal.
I was looking in Buffalo. There's a 50-60% chance of showers, rain. It's going to be like, does that change anything for you?
No, they're only giving 2. I like them at home.
All right. Okay.
I think they're fighting for their lives, Chris.
They are fighting for their lives.
My other game was Philadelphia.
I'm rooting for Dallas.
Listen, my other game was Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Given the 3.
You said there was a third game.
And the third game is Carolina. Yeah, I would take Atlanta given the 3.
Okay. I looked at that game too.
And if you want to tease them, I know Chris likes to tease. You could tease them and get the points. Bring it down, bring it up. You know?
For me, I'm looking at this Pittsburgh-Indianapolis game. Pittsburgh's bad, but they're a bad football team, and I don't see it improving on the road. And talk about internal turmoil. So I like Indy with, Indy's giving up 1.5, which is basically a pick. Take Indy in that game. I've been like with Houston this year. Houston at Tennessee. Tennessee's a fraud. Houston's getting 3 in Tennessee. I think Vegas is in love with Tennessee after that win. Houston's going to pop back. They're going to win that game.
Pay attention if Stroud's playing, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, right. If he's not playing, then that's a whole different story. But Tampa Bay at Green Bay, okay? I think Green Bay I will like Green Bay 3.5 points at home. They'll bounce back as well. So that's what I think, Mark. So betting game. And remember, bet because you want to, not because you need to. So Corso and Catone was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. Hey, get on, watch all our shows, listen to all our shows. They're up for you. Make sure you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. Get our notifications. And, hey, come back next Saturday, noon to 1 Eastern. We're going to talk to Kansas City, recap Pat's Christmas Eve matchup in Denver with the Denver House of Horrors at Denver. Celtics, Bruins, Catone's comment, Sunday spread, anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.